On today's podcast, we're talking about the top 5 breakout products of the year. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Shane Chapman, by myself today. So let's just get intimate with this and talk about some products that are really good this year. We have found 5 that we think they're not necessarily brand new products. They're just ones that we think are having a breakout year. And so criteria, well, mostly just our gut feel. A lot of what we're seeing on Instagram, stuff that's being kind of mass adopted, combined with a little bit of stuff that we're seeing move out of our store quite a bit. So a little bit of a mishmash of criteria to come up with this top 5 list of products that are having breakout years. But first, a little lighthearted fun before we get going here. A deck joke for everybody. So these couple of deck builders go down to Deck Expo in Louisville this year, and they get talking shop and talking all things about the state of the economy and how the jobs are going, job market's doing. Are you busy? You booked up this year? How are things going? And the more they talk, the more they get to know each other, and they get into a little bit deeper conversation about politics and state of the world and, you know, Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau and whoever else we're talking about nowadays. And they start talking about the fact that there's a lot of tension in the world again today. And they start remembering back to the days of the Cold War days where there was just this threat of potential disaster everywhere. And one deck builder says to the other deck builder, so let's just say hypothetically, Russia launches a nuke towards the United States. What are you doing? If those sirens go off, you hear those nuke sirens and you know you have 20 minutes before that missile lands and wipes out the entire continent. What are you doing with your last 20 minutes? And the other deck builder says, if I've got 20 minutes to live, man, I'm going to make love to everything that moves. How about you? What are you going to do with your last 20 minutes? And deck builder, the first one guy, says, I'm going to be as perfectly still as possible. What a way to open the show. Let's talk about the top 5 products that are coming out not coming out this year, that are having breakout years. Number 5, if you're on Instagram at all, you've seen lots about InLight. We're talking about a specific InLight product here. It's the Hide lights. These Hide lights are the coolest damn thing ever. It's no surprise to see, you know, those kind of round, googly eye type riser lights and stairs and whatnot that kind of, you know, every manufacturer makes them. The little button style lights that go into the riser of the stairs, shine out towards your face. But these Hide lights, I think that actually came out last year, but they're really starting to gain some traction this year, are a bar style light that slides underneath the nosing of your tread and shines down the riser onto the tread below it. So instead of shining out towards your face, it's got this awesome profile where it doesn't shine at you, it lights up the tread below. Lots of light there, but doesn't blind you as you're walking up to the steps or sitting in front of them, whatever. Super sleek, kind of not hidden, but very, very non-suspect profile to these things. They tuck in nicely. They work in also like landscape type situations as well, you know, around retaining walls and that kind of thing. They could also work on the edge of a deck, just where your decking kind of noses over your fascia. If you want to kind of downlight some plants or things that you have around the deck, that'll work in that aspect as well. But the most common use for them that we're seeing is on your stairs in replacement of those typical button style lights that are so common. So they're just a nice change of pace on a typical riser light. Super sweet looking. InLight as a brand is great. Very good warranty. Very reliable. Check out the InLight Hide lights, HYDE. They've actually got 2 sizes. The 180s, these are all millimeters, 180s and the 550s. The 180s are more common, of course. They're about a 7-inch wide light. And then the 550s are about 3 times wider than that. They're a huge bar light if you want to light up a large set of steps or what have you. But those are brand new this year. But our number 5 product that's having a breakout year this year is the InLight Hide lights, HYDE. Number 4 on our list of breakout products this year is Toya Grid. You've probably seen this kicking around too. There's a few guys out there that have used these a few times. Most notably is Premier Outdoor Living. Sean has done 1 or 2 of these beautiful pergolas. We have posted them on our account as well at the Ultimate Deck Shop. what they are is kind of, they almost look like something you'd expect to find at IKEA. They're a modular pergola system that is super, super DIY friendly to put up. Goes up, installed in a matter of minutes, call it 1 to 2 hours to get most of these things up with you and a buddy. And priced wise, quite reasonable. Individually, the brackets seem like they're a bit more expensive, but as a whole, if you buy the whole system with some 4x4 posts and all the brackets you need, you have a completed pergola system, depending on the size, starting at like $800 up to $1,200 for most of these sizes. And then being that they're modular, if you want to go bigger than the stock size, which the biggest stock size is 12 by 12 feet, you just add another zone, and you can keep adding zones and zones and zones until you achieve the size that you want. They are super slick. The claim is that a couple guys or a couple people can put these up in about 45 minutes. So that of course depends on your skill level and how efficient you are at putting these things up. But the bottom line is they are super simple to put up. They are very sleek and modern looking. They provide a simple way to add some shade to your space and kind of define a zone. And they're great for both residential, commercial use. Toya Grid, TOJA Grid. And so check those out as well. They are pretty slick. Number 3 product having a breakout year this year is a decking line from Decorators. The Voyage line came out this year. And the Decorators Voyage line is a very attractive composite deck board. However, they've done things a little bit different. It's using their eOvations technology, which isn't brand new, but it's fairly new, but it's not brand new this year to this line. But this line with these colors and the enhanced traction nature of this line is really catching people's attention this year. You're seeing a lot of guys on Instagram trying this product out and loving it. We are seeing it move through our store, and people are really, really liking this Decorators Voyage line. The Decorators Voyage line is available in currently 4 colors plus a 5th kind of accent color, I'll call it, a dark slate that's used as a picture frame board. And to continue with the trend of doing things a little bit differently, that picture frame board is actually available in a 21-foot length, which is uncommon. Most boards max out at 20 feet. But what these guys have understood is that when you're using a picture frame board and you have a deck that's 20 feet, you're probably doing a bit of a nosing on your picture frame board, which means you might actually need 20-foot 3 to not have a seam in the middle of your picture frame. So what do? They extrude these out and cut them up at 21 feet. Problem solved. So this stuff has incredible traction on it. Some of the best in the industry. The expansion and contraction, the thermal stability of this stuff is best in class as far as a composite goes. It's expands and contracts like less than half of what your traditional composites do. It is thinner, it is stronger than almost anything out there, and the coloring in it is beautiful. So if you haven't seen Decorators Voyage line, as mentioned, there's a few colors. Tundra, which is like a light gray with some beautiful streaking in it. Sierra, which is a darker gray. Costa, which is kind of a yellowy with some dark streaking in it. And then Mesa, which is their kind of reddish brown color with some streaking as well. And then of course the dark slate picture frame, which is very, very similar to like a Trex Winchester gray, kind of that dark gray, bluey tinted kind of board, but it looks very nice with all of the other colors just previously mentioned. It kind of pairs well with all of them to give you a really unique contrasting accent board to any of the other colors that you might be using on that on the new beautiful deck of yours. So check out Decorators Voyage. It is catching some attention out this year, having a big year in 2019. Number 2, hideaway screens. Now, these aren't brand new this year, but the lock has been pulled off the exclusivity that they had in their kind of local market, and now they've got them into distribution, and they are starting to see some major traction all across North America. What they are, these hideaway screens, is a aluminum powder coated privacy screen, and they've got different patterns and art, I would say, cut into them that you can mount within an aluminum railing system to give yourself an alternative to textured glass or Matalux frosted glass or something as a privacy solution, or just as an artistic component to a deck. So these are amazing because for a long time, people have been looking for an alternative solution to glass in kind of that 6-foot tall privacy wall that'll work with their aluminum rail system. And finally, hideaway screens have come out and they've done this at a really reasonable price point. And so they are getting a lot of traction. And what they've done, this is not, the idea of cutting a decorative panel out of aluminum is not new, But these guys, Hideaway Screens, are kind of the first ones to take this and create kind of a few mass market SKUs, which has helped to control some inventory, which has made it, it kind of moved it out of a special order category and into more of a mass adoption, mass distribution type model. And so they've got 4 stock patterns. We've got a dash, which is kind of like a dash laser line kind of pattern. We've got branch, which is kind of branches of a tree kind of the looky thing to it. River rock, which kind of, if you're a fan of the mountains or that kind of thing, kind of some rock cuts out of it, which is kind of a neat pattern. And also a Maui one, which is like big kind of leaf patterns, kind of Hawaii inspired one. So they've got these 4 stock patterns. They've decided to do them in black and white. And so that creates minimal number of SKUs that becomes attractive to distributors and retailers. And they're having huge success distributing that way. You can also get them cut into your own custom sizes or custom patterns if you see fit. But the stock sizes is what was really taken this from being kind of a niche product to what's starting to be a bit of a mass market product. You're seeing tons of stuff on Instagram as well. So I think in 2019, Hideaway Screens is having a big breakout year. Number 1, drum roll please. If you've listened to the last previous podcasts, or especially if you've tuned into our YouTube show, so go to YouTube, look up The Ultimate Deck Shop, or The Ultimate Deck Show is the title of the actual show we're putting on YouTube. You wouldn't be surprised by this next one. The number 1 product that's making a big splash this year, Camo Edge Clips. And if you haven't had a chance to get your hands on some of these Camo Edge Clips, try your best to do so. Maybe reach out to Camo through Instagram, see if they can maybe hook you up with a sample size or something like that to get you trying it out. But if you have a chance, if you're going to be at Deck Expo or something, they'll have a booth there. At least swing by there and get a chance to kind of use the system and see how it works. It is quite remarkable, the improvements they've made to a basic part of installing composite decks that nobody really knew needed a big improvement, and Camo stepped in and saw a bunch of things that they could tweak and make it a little bit better, and it's making a big impact out there. Everybody that's trying these things is falling in love with them. Efficiency and install time is going through the roof. Frustration's dropping. It's an incredible system. I'm gonna have to go through and explain all this. Watch our YouTube video if you want to see these things. But essentially what they've done is they've taken a kind of a typical biscuit style hidden composite deck fastener, and they've put a joist grabber on it. So now this thing will hold itself up on the joist, so you don't have to kind of balance it or squeeze the boards together to hold your clips in place, or start one and then put the board in and then finish the screw off. You just are able to put the clip in place and it holds itself in place, which just improves efficiency big time. So they've got 2 styles of clips, one for diagonal decking, one for kind of your standard layouts. And then in every box, they give you a little guide. It's called a Never Miss guide that allows you to basically 100% of the time hit your screw head without even really paying attention. So we're shaving seconds off, but if you do that 300 times on a small deck, that's going to save you a lot of time by not having to kind of gently line up your screw head with the screw. You just use this Never Miss guide and it's kind of makes it foolproof. Then on top of that, they've got a pneumatic. I keep saying pneumatic. It's not pneumatic. It is a collated drive system that'll work with your drill that kind of has the same idea. It's got this bell-shaped nose on it that allow you to align the tool to the screws that are sticking up out of your deck. So what a lot of guys are doing is setting their clips on every joist for every board, not screwing any of them down initially, putting the whole deck's worth of boards on and then clamping them tight, going back through with the Camo Drive collated fastener tool and driving all the screws afterwards. And it's kind of never miss again. Can't miss a screw. Drives to the proper depth, stops you, and away you go. And you just kind of walk around as if you're using kind of like a quick drive gun or something to put down this whole deck. It's an amazing system. In addition to that, they got different noses for it. So if you're not doing a clip style deck, if you're doing maybe a treated deck or you're screwing down some plywood or something, you can use some face screws. They've got an option on collated strips. And then if you are familiar with their Camo Marksman jig tools that do the side, like kind of the edge screwing with the screws toenailed through the sides of the board, they have a stand-up version of that on that same attachment, that same Camo Drive tool. Just by changing the head on it and changing the strip of screws, now you can stand up and edge drive your cedar, for example, or what have you. So they are having a big breakout year on those camo edge clips. That whole system has gotten a lot of attention and seems universally loved once people get their hands on it to try it. So if you haven't had a chance, I urge you to do so. All of these products, I believe, with the exception of the Decorator's Voyage, are available on our website, ultimatedeckshop.com. If you're looking to have a deeper look at some of these or even purchase, we'll ship them anywhere. So if you want to have a look, definitely do. If you're missing something that you don't see on there, shoot me a message and we'll get that fixed up. The camo edge stuff will be going up there soon. It's not up there yet, but keep your eye out because we're going to do a bit of a promo. You can get yourself a good deal here pretty quick. So what else, folks? That's the top 5. Of course, this list could have been 10 long. There's been a lot of changes in the decking industry this year with a lot of the big manufacturers dropping lower cost boards this year and new lines. Those are also products that are having big years. Didn't make my top 5, but honorable shout out to the Trex Enhance line that is doing quite well this year. The Fiber and Good Life multi-chromatic line that's doing quite well. The TimberTech Edge line that's doing quite well. The TimberTech multi-width decking. There's a lot of things that have been happening this year that are exciting. That maybe next year that'll be kind of I'll consider that their breakout year. But these top 5 products we've talked about today are exciting products, doing things a little bit differently, getting a lot of notice, and probably one of the biggest criteria is almost universally loved by people who are trying and using them. So these are good products, solving a problem, doing things better every day. And so you are very, very well off to spend some time finding out and learning about these products and maybe including them in your next job. That's it for today, folks. This is a short, quick podcast just to get you kind of a few things to check out on your own time. Reminder that we're at Deck Expo in Louisville come November at the Decorators booth. We'll be doing some live podcasts there. We'll doing some open mic podcast type stuff. And there's some free beer there. They're doing free beer. Can you believe it? Thursday at 2 o'clock, IG meetup at the Decorators booth. Check it out. Till next week, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.